Hey everybody, this is Marsilio, and this video is going to cover how I set up the pivots on TradingView. There are many ways of levels, support, resistance levels, and many strategies in the market, but I continue to find these one of the most effective. And also, since the timing work can get pretty complicated and tricky, I really like to have something very simple, completely objective when it comes to the technicals, and I start with the pivots. So, now, the kind of pivots that you're going to use depends on the type of trader investor you are and the type of TradingView plan that you have. The basic one, which is 13 bucks a month, monthly, only allows 5 indicators per chart. So you can put all the pivots on there, but then you won't be able to combine moving averages. But what you could do is do one layout with that and one layout with the other thing and one layout with some other indicators or whatever. But the plus plan allows 10 indicators per chart, so that gets you close to putting everything on there. And I have premium, which is $50 a month, and I can put on almost whatever I want in there. That's basically the reason why I do it, because I like to see it all at once. But for those of you who are following my work and have seen these levels in play, and you don't want me to just spoon feed you the levels all the time, you want to look at your own stocks or know where they are. Also, I don't put every chart up there in my little quick takes. This is the video for you. Not that hard to figure out, but here we go. So I'm just doing, at SPY, but it really can be anything. And you go to indicators, technicals, and this is pivot points standard. So select that, and it's going to come up and it's going to look like this. And you're going to say, wait a second, this doesn't look like mine at all, or Marsilio's. And that's okay, because it's just a matter of adjusting. So we go into the settings, which is this 6-sided figure. When you hover settings, we're going to use traditional. I'll say more about that later, but all these pivots I'm using are traditional. And instead of auto time frame, we're going to select yearly. Number of pivots back, we don't need 15 years back. It's just bit 5. We don't even need that, but this way I can use the same number for everything I'm going to throw on there. Daily base values, yes. Show labels, show prices. In the beginning, yes. At some point, the labels and prices may get too cluttered. Now, what I like to do is, instead of just having an thin orange line for everything, if you like that, that's just fine. You can keep it. I like the pivot in orange, the support in green. So I'm just changing the color. Resistance in red, like that. And then I also don't need to see S4, S5. Those are rare. S4, S5, R4, R5. It'll just try and put them on the chart all the time. I'll have to fiddle with it to make it look right. And then, so those are the color scheme I like, but choose whatever it is you like to have on your charts. And then lastly, the line width. I like to select the thicker widths for the higher time frames. So yearly, I'm going to put on a 10. You'll see it change. Okay, so that's starting to look more familiar now. But if that's too thick for you, 7, whatever, doesn't matter. There's no, in this setup, there's no option for like dotted line, or sometimes TradingView does, scripts do have those kind of options. But in this case, it's just line, color, thickness. So I'm going to do my 10, and then you can do whatever you want. And then you can, once you get a kind of basic scheme, you can save it as a default, and that'll make it easier when to adjust for the next ones. So now I'm going to do the same thing again, but since I saved it as a default, it should come up with some of those similar settings. See if that's worked. So yeah, yearly. So now we're going to change this from yearly. See the next one, quarterly. So I don't need the same line width, so let's call that 5. Otherwise, it's all the same. And you'll see, bingo, we've got, we should have a new let's see, I'm going to hide the yearly. Oh, yeah, the new quarterly is there, excuse me. The new quarterly pivot is down here. So we've got yearly and quarterly. And then do it again for the monthly, same exact thing. And now change the setting. Instead of yearly, we got monthly. Instead of line width, maybe we're going to do 3. And there we have it. If we shift to Bitcoin, we see that monthly pivot just tested. That's the level that I called out in the morning quick take. These are in play for sure. And we kind of at a glance know where Bitcoin is above its yearly R2, but quarterly pivot, monthly pivot, and you can tell where the line stops, also how long it's in play. So the more pivots on there, you'll get these labels. But for the beginning, I recommend just having them on there, keeping it straight. And then now you'll notice something's missing, and that is the half-year pivot. Well, in all the options, they didn't include that, but I really like the half-year pivots and like to include them. That's the way I first saw it on a Bloomberg many years ago, and I continue to see them to be in play. So I wrote a little tweak to include the half year, and you could do this yourself. But if you want to, you can send me an email to MarsiliosMM@gmail.com, or message through Twitter, or comment on this YouTube video, and I will get you on the invite. And basically, same exact thing, except you can select half yearly, and then since this was a different script, I'm going to go through this process of changing the colors. And you'll see how important this is. So resistance, red, red, red. And I'm going to say 7. Whoops, number of pivots back can be 5, and line with 7. Now you see there's a method to my madness. Yearly gets the most, half yearly the next, then quarterly, then monthly, etc. So I'm going to take off the S4, S5. There's really a massive move outside something. We can look at that, but the 3s are sufficient. And then you don't have the chart scrunching up all the time trying to fit all the lines in. So, okay, so we've got the half year levels on there. And this is the 70K level, basically, that Bitcoin has been really chopping around. And then Ethereum, well, here's an important one that was just tagged today. And here's the ES, S&P Futures high right on that first half year level. So yeah, these are in play. I definitely like the half years. If you're going to go into this system, might as well just get them on there because they're really useful. Here's the Ethereum half year level that, aside from 1-day fake out, was pretty much resistance on the bounce. So again, you can comment to the YouTube video. You can send me a message through Twitter or MarsiliosMM@gmail.com. The reason I made it invite only is that TradingView said avoid rehashing of their own indicators in terms of community script. So maybe I should just put on there and then let them complain. But anyway, I made it invite only. But once you send it to me, I can share it with you. So now the next thing I want to cover is, what about the shorter term timeframes? If you're on a daily chart, you really don't want weekly and daily getting in the way too much. I mean, maybe if you're really finessing things, you might be interested in where a weekly pivot is. Could be if you're really up in the air about a long or a short, and it's kind of a toss up, you could look at the weekly pivot, and that might make the decision for you. But for shorter term timeframes, definitely want the weekly and daily on there. So now I'm going to go to Bitcoin 1-hour chart, and we've got the same 4. So here's the daily. Whoops, got my arrows from earlier. Actually, I haven't totally. In any case, so here's the setup: yearly, half yearly, quarterly, and monthly. But now, let's say we're doing some shorter term trading on whatever vehicle. I'm just using Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. Anything can be futures, can be ETF, can be single stock, and we want the weekly and the daily on there. So again, we just, it's the same thing, same process. Pivot point standard, I'm going to put it on there twice. Just cover it weekly and daily. And now, instead of yearly, we're going to select weekly. Now, maybe we want different colors, or maybe we can go down line thing, but the more the lines are the same, I like to know which is which. So let's just say we're going to do 3 for the weekly, but let's choose different color. Let's choose brick red and a kind of piney green, whatever it is you want. I'm just doing it slightly differently, just so we can tell what's what on the chart. And I'll do this kind of slightly cherry red instead of the brick red, or whatever you want to call it. And so now we've got our weekly pivots on there. And again, you can kind of tell where they stop. Also, if you have any doubts, look at where they stop. Well, this is in play for the week. And then lastly, same exact thing on the daily. And so I'll change it and use the same color scheme and do the pivot in that, whatever that maroony brown is, make that support, piney green, resistance, cherry red. Okay, done. And then we can make the line with 1 for the daily so that the weekly stands out a little bit more. And here they are. So so there you have it. Bitcoin looks, crashed through the weekly pivot, which is this one. We know that because the color we just selected. Here's I guess the daily S1 is up here, so that can happen. And then S2 made a low, bounced back up to the major level, then down, and then found support on the monthly pivot, daily S3 combo, and now I'm trying to bounce again. So that's, so you can do this I have over and over and over again, every single asset class, index, ETF, single stock, currency, cryptos, futures, commodities, oil, gold, VIX, everything. I see them on play everywhere, every time frame. So I highly recommend you checking this out. That's going to do it for this video. In another video in the near future, I will cover the MA script. I didn't come up with this, but I really like the ones that change color based on slope, because that really changes the view of it, whether it's support or resistance. So I just like that feature. I'll show you that. And also the 3 other indicators, stochastic with 1 minor tweak, RSI standard setting. There's the stochastic, which I use sometimes. RSI I use a lot. Standard setting, it's just adjust the colors. And then a tweaked MACD. You can see it on here, but I'll go over why I tweaked it. And then if you put all these on one chart, then we'll be looking at the same thing. If you like to follow my work, give it a try. And hope that's helpful. Thank you for my take on the markets, combining technicals and timing for the win. What Wall Street hates the most because they work the best. Yes, that is one of my little taglines. You're going to be hearing that one, but it's really true. Okay, thank you.